YG.
Yeah, YG just gonna, again, pull some pressure. And he's done that throughout the tournament on whatever champion he's played. He'll put pressure on the map. It forces the other team to rotate to him because he's so fed. And then the rest of Texas A&M take something else on the map. In this case, it's topside vision.
It reminds you a lot of some of the CLG strats where they have so much confidence in Zion Spartan and his ability to split push
Young
and
Darshan.
and show that pressure. And YG has been able to do just that. But the best part about this is Texas A&M not only confidence in YG, but efficiency in making sure that anytime YG does decide to do that split push, they're doing something else. And you can see that as a perfect effort here. They have got supers. He's going to push up the wave in the top and the bottom side of the map while the rest of his team is floating on the top side. And look at Vanderbilt. They've got 2 members in the mid lane just now recalling. They're going to lose this turret.
Yeah, again, once it's yo-yoing across the map here for Texas A&M, and it's all on YG. So solid stuff there by Texas A&M. The Aggies looking to continue to push into the base, and Vandy doesn't seem to have an answer. The teleport coming in now for Texas A&M. Engage coming out of 1st of July, but it gets stunted. Nice stun there by Mr. Black Panda, trying to zone out Ominous Mirror, and Ominous Mirror forced to back up low health bars, and Texas A&M just going to take this tower. 1st of July, nice pull to stay away from the stun. Drovey decides to go in, forced to flash away. Who's helping out the AD carry? No one is. The Zonias comes out of 1st of July, and Drovey gets taken down immediately. Nice plays there by Glory, and YG are going to clean up, and Texas A&M just run all over the Commodores here.
Clockwork just started to rock, and it was a solid effort to be able to knock down Omnimus Mirror and reduce that health bar just enough. And try as they may, try as they might, Vanderbilt put up the great fight, but it's the Aggies that secure themselves the Game 1 victory.
Yeah, let's not fool ourselves here. It was a solid, one of the first real tangible leads that we've seen built against Texas A&M, but the leads were great ganks, but not through necessarily CS and gold.
When you get to this level of League of Legends play, one mistake is all it takes to completely turn the game in the other direction. At first, it was Vanderbilt making that play in the Baron steal, but then they misprioritized their objectives. They try to go for the Dragon, and the clean ace that allowed then Texas A&M to secure themselves that bot lane inhibitor, it just snowballed out of control, and the Aggies just ended up taking over the game.
Well, I want to backpedal a little bit back to the draft. We talked about the 2 weird picks that needed to work out for Vanderbilt in both the Vladimir and the Fiora. How do you feel like they fared in this?
I mean, I definitely think that, 1st of July dominated in the mid lane early. It was great, but he was taking too much poke in preparation for the team fights that by the time he did what Vladimir's supposed to do, use that proto belt to get to the back line, secure all of that damage, get that damage booster for his team, he was below 40% HP all 3 times for those big team fights. And that's where you need to change up your pre-team fight strategy if you're Vanderbilt to get better fights and set up those strategies a little bit more efficiently.
Well, let's take a look at how everything went down, especially the beginning of the game for Vanderbilt. It seemed like they amassed such a huge lead, and we have a couple of replays there to show not only the great ganks, but the great counterplays that were happening.
So this first one was an overzealous opportunity of Glory that wanted to get the gank. It was a great sense of a stall, but I think that YG and the rest of Texas A&M just got a little too trigger happy. Maybe wait till that lane goes a little bit farther. But then the first blood here by 1st of July, Black Panda just did not respect that power at all.
Yeah, again, just understanding the champion and the champion limits, especially a champion like Vladimir that you don't see all the time, day after day, and it paid off here for 1st of July.
Yeah, and so now, of course, summoner spells are down. Why don't you just go with the repeat gank? Things are much easier if you're able to go into a lane that does not have that mobility summoner spell. And that is where Vanderbilt started to show a lot of types. You've got 1st of July securing the 2 kills on the top side, or sorry, in the middle of the map. Then they're able to get themselves a nice little dive. He gets that ends up making him have 3 kills. And Vanderbilt started to look good. This is where things were starting to work in their favor.
And again, Glory, again, we're not used to seeing him not land things at the very beginning and accumulate that lead for his laners. And it seemed to slow him down a little bit, but it didn't deter him from the rest of the game.
No, I don't think it was a deterrent at all. One of the great things that Texas A&M has as a team of this caliber is they recognize when some of their members, especially their carry solo laners, are starting to get behind, they need to find a way to compensate for that in the mid game. And they did just that. If you noticed, every time that there was a lull in an objective, you had Black Panda in a side lane. He was farming. He was keeping himself up and relevant. And so Texas A&M, they know their end goal. They recognize those win conditions, and they're going to have to keep that up. And honestly, though, they're going to have to tighten it up, because if that Dragon fight wouldn't have happened, I really see Vanderbilt putting a potentially upset and taking that game one.
So one shining moment here for the jungler for Vandy and Ominous. He had the huge Baron steal there. It looked like all hope was starting to go away as Texas A&M picked up an ace, and just big play here. YG was all in his face, and he still pulled this one off.
Yeah, and the best part about it as well is Glory was a level up on him, and so he had the higher size smite, which should, in this instance, almost 10 times out of 10 secure yourself that, but just mistime the health a little bit. Maybe he got a little scared of, oh, he's coming in, you know, and tries to get it, but that right there threw Vanderbilt back in a driver's seat, and then they ran it off a cliff.
So the substitution also in the support role in Siverskaldi, how do you feel with that type of gameplay here? Because we said that, okay, Vision would be a great thing with a jungler moving to the support role. Ominous Mirror did have the nice steal, but do you feel like you want to go back to the old roster for Vanderbilt?
No, I definitely think Ominous Mirror outperformed Siverskaldi in the jungle position. I definitely think he showed a lot more pressure and was aware of where Glory was on the map. He shadowed him and was there for a lot of ganks and counter ganks quite effectively. I don't think that there were enough of Vanderbilt's, I don't think there was enough parts in the game where Vanderbilt was in control to really show whether or not Siverskaldi was capable of getting those deeper wards and really prioritizing the direction of Vanderbilt's vision. But from the jungle perspective, in just that alone, I definitely think Omnibus Mirror is worthwhile.
Well, perspective is exactly what Vanderbilt needs right now. They're down 0-1 with their tournament life on the line. When we come back, we'll have Game 2 between Texas A&M and Vandy. All right, ladies and gents, welcome back to Game 2 of our first semifinals between Vandy and Texas A&M. Texas A&M falling behind, but showing some grit and earning themselves the win that we expected.
I think grit is a very accurate term for that, because we knew coming into this that Vanderbilt was not scared to get down and dirty.
Right.
That just falls right into their play style. Texas A&M, much more of the cookie cutter team composition, but I mean, they were able to combat them. They went right back on that. It was crazy.
All right, draft already up and ready to go. The teams have switched sides, so Vandy now on the blue side, Texas A&M on the red side, and we got to see the prioritization last time of Texas A&M to get rid of the Cho'Gath from both Drovey and YG, a contested pick, and then prioritize the Sejuani. And so although Glory missed several ultimates there, no Glacial Prison, he was able to be an effective tank for his damage dealers to do damage.
So here's where I want to see where the strategy changes for both Vanderbilt and Texas A&M. Vanderbilt now on the blue side have the opportunity to first pick a power pick away from Texas A&M, potentially something like that Sejuani. They did ban the Rakan on the red side last. I would not be surprised if Vanderbilt actually keeps the Rakan open and forces Texas A&M to ban that away. You can see the Lulu being banned in that instance, and so Texas A&M has a decision: do we ban the Sejuani or do we ban the Rakan? They ban the Sejuani. This is an opportunity for Vanderbilt to just first pick the Rakan and get themselves a very strong support.
Interesting, though, because we know they substituted out their other support, Sivers Caldi. Is this a champion that's in his wheelhouse? If not, that could go over top.
It needs to be. It needs to be. You shouldn't be in top 4 of the 10-gig Collegiate Invitational without having the ability to play Rakan.
There it is.
Thank God.
Yeah, so Sivers Caldi will be playing the Rakan. Again, just amazing engage on this champion. Does have some healing powers, and that also forces Texas A&M to play Xayah.
Yeah, and so they're probably going to do and lock in the Gragas as well to make sure that they can keep themselves with the power jungler. Xayah, you have to take this in this instance. There is no if, ands, buts, questions, or answers. They have to take the Xayah down. They end up locking the Gragas as well to make sure that they get that power pick. So far, it's definitely by the book for the pick ban phase.
Gragas slotting over for Texas A&M. So Ominous Mirror and 1st of July have the next couple picks. Usually, like we said, it's normally your AD carry, support, and jungler that gets picked up here. But Ominous Mirror, that's a guy that I think we highlighted.
Give me the Akali.
Right?
Give me the Akali.
Ooh, he's going to pull out an Elise. So once you get rid of one of the top-tier junglers there, 2 top-tier junglers, 3 top-tier junglers, we've seen a Zach in this tournament as well. Elise now popping up in priority.
So Elise is the next best choice for all of these, for any of these teams, simply because her ability to duel with Gragas, as well as the lockdown that the Cocoon provides. But now,
take a look at the Azir, buffed in patch 7.19, more attack speed for the Sand Soldiers, and a champion that we've also seen been played very well today in this tournament so far.
I like the Azir. I love it even better because now 1st of July doesn't have to worry about diving into the backline on that Vladimir. He can kind of sit back and help be a little bit more of a backline threat for that. We talked a lot yesterday about how the spacing of Azir and the player's ability to recognize that appropriate level of spacing really helps dictate the directions, so he's going to have that. And as a result, Texas A&M is going to hold onto their hand and pick up their mid laner in that Syndra again for Black Panda.
Yeah, and there's something to be said about playing the same character twice in a series. You get more comfortable, more warmed up, because as a player of League of Legends, you need to have a plethora of champions so that in case of something like this where Ominous Mirror has multiple junglers banned against him, you have something that you feel comfortable with, that works with the team, and provides the best opportunity for you to provide help to your team.
And so now, with the final ban for Vanderbilt being taken away, you saw the Fiora as well as that Caitlyn for Texas A&M. It ends up being a Maokai to help reduce a little bit more of that team fighting power that Texas A&M could potentially pull out. And so this first pick for Texas A&M, I wouldn't be surprised here if they just lock in their support, keep that hidden for YG to see if they can get a nice little counter pick against Drovey, because for all intents and purposes, Drovey outplayed and outperformed in the earlier stages of the game against YG in that top lane.
Right. It felt almost solo queue-esque, where you're beating the Jax, you've got, a couple ganks there, hopefully you're hoping to tilt them off, but it's a Jax. It's a champion that no matter what will always be relevant in the late game if you get there.
Ooh, and so Vanderbilt potentially going for this switch. They do have a little bit more of a front line as far as that control. Azir definitely known for his control mage setup. The Twitch, we saw the Twitch pop off actually in the final game of Worlds, RNG versus
Uzi,
G2.
Baby.
Uzi went off and absolutely dominated. But I want to touch upon this Morgana pick for a second actually, because the Morgana does very well against the likes of an Elise and a Rakan because of the Black Shield and the fact that she can deny that form of CC from the enemy team. And so now with that in their pocket, Texas A&M continues to keep themselves with a strong bot lane.
Oh, and it's the Camille. Drovey going back to yet another carry champion.
So Camille was banned last game by TAMU because they didn't want to get that in the hands of Drovey. So I'm very excited to see how he's able to perform on this and what YG is going to do as a counter. He can't decide to pick up the Jax. He can decide to possibly pick up something a little bit tankier, but instead
goes with the Jace. And I like this pick real quick, back to the Vanderbilt Camille pick, because you have 1st of July, last game, getting his comfort pick down to Vladimir and popped off. This time, Drovey getting his comfort pick into Camille with an Azir who is buffed. He is a buffed champion. He is a stronger champion regardless. Fiora is like good, but we know that Azir is a priority champion, has been banned a couple times in this tournament. The one time he was played, did pop off.
Yeah, for sure, but you also have to think about power picks for the side of Texas A&M. YG is able to get that Jace. The Jace was the Jace was not banned. The Jace was actually banned by Vanderbilt on red side in the last game to take that away from YG. Obviously, also to make sure that they could play that Fiora, but more importantly, keeping it hands out of YG. So now Vanderbilt, Texas A&M, 2 top laners that were banned in game 1, they're able to get that into the hands of game 2, and so this is going to be the lane that I want to look out for and see how either one of them are to perform.
And taking a look at this whole draft, you had so many counter. I think you had 2 counter picks here for Texas A&M. You had them get the jungler that is a meta jungler in Gragas, forcing Ominous Mirror on an Elise, which isn't necessarily as meta. It's not as bad. It's always relevant if you're able to land those skills, but it's a high skill cap champion. And if you're the new sub jungler and you're Texas A&M, you're like, hey man, we'll risk the fact that maybe you're not as comfortable on this champion.
And something that you do have to worry about for Vanderbilt is they have a very strong pick composition, but their team fights in the 5v5 is again inferior to Texas A&M. Texas A&M, every game that we've seen them on broadcast, prioritizes the strength of a team fight and the team as a unit cohesively fighting together, and so it's going to have to be up to Vandy to make sure that they get that vision control. Something that they didn't have opportunities to prioritize last game are going to have to be at the top of their list to make sure that they can play to these composition strengths.
Texas A&M, Vanderbilt, 1-0. One more game win for Texas A&M, and they move on to the finals. One more loss for Vandy, and they're out. Let's see if they're able to do it after we come back from this short break. All right, welcome back to Game 2 between Vandy and Texas A&M. Texas A&M taking the early comeback victory. Weird to say that so far, but comeback victory for the Aggies. They're up 1-0, one more win, and they find themselves in the finals of the Tengig Collegiate Invitational.
They do indeed, and that last game really spoke about the Aggies to me, because any good team can win when they're ahead.
Right.
Any good team can take advantage and, you know, play like clockwork and do.
Wait, hold on. This is the first cheese that we've seen, and they're all going in. Vanderbilt trying to get nice damage down. Body slam going to slow down Vandy. Drovey very low. First blood heading on over to Chuck Normus. Black Panda stepping up, and Vanderbilt forced to retreat very low as YG, but it doesn't look like he's going to fall. Vandy Laney once more gets bound by Morgana, stuck in place. Another body slam going to land. Heel burned, knock up again by Chuck Normus. Look at these health bars on Texas A&M. They're so low, but there's no way to reach him at level 1. And so Texas A&M gamble, and they come out with the kill.
But more importantly, that kill goes into the pocket of Chuck Normus. He's going to be able to go back and buy himself some extra power for that phase. He did end up popping that, they ended up popping the pot, but he's going to be able to buy the pot as well as a longsword. And so now a lane that actually has quite a level of damage with the Twitch as well as the Recon is going to get pretty bullied now with this extra damage that Chuck Normus is going to have.
Oh man, I know. If
that
you're
was
Vandy,
frisky.
That was the
frisky.
first time something has happened in the first minute this whole tournament. All the teams have been relatively okay, as we have a pause, relatively okay to set up the line of scrimmage and just play safe, but both teams were like, hey, our tournament life could be on the line, and we need to go ahead and get that win. Let's go ahead and take a look at that replay one more time, because it's the only moment we have, and it's crucial.
It was great. So, I mean, you can go back and forth about, you know, who has the stronger level 1 and who has the more power, but by and large, it was just Texas A&M having that communication to say, all right, go fight, kill Drovey. And that is exactly what was able to get them onto the victory. They got a little cheeky, and when they saw that the Morgana shield landed, it was like, all right, let's go back in and let's make something happen. But now, you get the kill into the pocket of Chuck Normus, and the real question becomes, what did you give up in that instance? There were 2 heals blown. You had a mid lane. You had the mid lane as well as the support for the side of Vanderbilt that ended up blowing those summoner spells, and that's going to be very important in this early stage.
And Glory hitting 2 really big body slams there to one of the few AoE skills in both team compositions. 1st of July had Sand Soldiers, but what's Drovey going to do in that? What's Vandy Landy going to do in that if he can only auto-attack one person at a time?
Now, to the advantage and hopeful capitalization of Vanderbilt, there is the flash blown onto Fat YG as well as Glory, so Glory's not going to be able to get the flash body slam on some attacks for a while.
Oh, no. Another root landing onto Vandy Landy. Does have barrier, does have flash, wants to go back in, forces the barrier out of Chuck Normus, and a nice expunge. So, although it looked bad at first, Vandy Landy hanging on and playing on the edge here.
Those level 1 damages, man, they're not scared. They don't want to have to worry. And Fat YG showing why that Jace is banned away from him already. Just now level 2, zoning out Drovey away from this minion wave.
Yeah, Ominous Mirror needs to take advantage of these flashless champions on the side of Texas A&M in both Glory and YG, but he's on the bottom side of the map, so I don't think he's going to be doing that anytime soon. Drovey in a world of hurt, especially in this ranged versus melee matchup.
You take a look at Omnimus Mirror's recognition of what and where is the weak points for Texas A&M, and I mean, he sees something in the bot lane.
He does flash, gets the knockup. Nice job done there by Sivers. Flash forward by Twitch, gonna be enough. Ominous Mirror picking that one up. We questioned if his mechanics would be on point, and they absolutely were in that play.
It was not enough time for the Black Shield to come out by B here. It was the great buffer for the Cocoon. He's able to get the Cocoon flash, and now at 3.5 minutes in, it's a great effort. And so these are the instances where you actually can look and say that it's good that that kill went over into Omnimus Mirror. Yeah, it is nice to kind of catalyze the Twitch and to help him, but because of the fact that Annalise does so well with some early items, being able to get that extra damage certainly is going to be able a contributing factor in the early game. Oh no.
Drovey getting aggressive, does not get the heal from the strike there and forced to flash away. YG obviously does not have his flash quite yet, but Glory's right here on the top side, and this looks like an easy dive if Texas A&M is able to execute. That's going to force Drovey away from the tower and recall.
Yeah, he recognizes immediately this is not the direction. The hard aggression from YG, I think, gave away that Glory was in the vicinity. But as a result, Drovey just decides to back off, and now Glory's going to have to change his way around the map. He does decide to pop the blast cone to get some knowledge of where these enemy wards as well as the visions are. As Black Panda and 1st of July, a big marquee matchup in Game 1, is fairly even thus far here in Game 2.
Yeah, Black Panda, again, getting the comfort of being on the same champion. 1st of July, not on his comfort champion and on a new champion. Yes, a stronger champion in Azir. But again, there's something to be said for playing the same champion over and over again, knowing exactly the limits of all the champions. And 1st of July is going to have to stretch that.
So Omnimus Mirror, because he was able to get that level 1 kill, is able to go back and buy himself some boots as well as a hunting knife. And vision is going to be very important for Vanderbilt in this composition because they have lots of single target damage. They have lots of lockdown, quick lockdown rather, to kill these high priority targets of Texas A&M. But without an adequate form of vision and knowledge of where Texas A&M is on the map, they're not going to be able to have any opportunity to do so and take advantage.
So Glory roaming to the mid lane, 1st of July, low on mana. Oh, Scatter the Weak not going to land, no stun. But again, Glory just turns around and just says, hey, I'm going to damage you. There's nothing you can do, and just knows Gragas. He knows Gragas well. We're talking about being comfortable on champions. Glory has done superbly on all the champions he played on so far.
So now we're at the 5-minute, 40-second mark. Still fairly even, 400 gold, fairly negligible with most of that gold going into the pockets of Omnimus Mirror with that last kill that he did acquire. You can take a look at the gold right now. It's, you know, back and forth, couple hundred gold here, couple hundred gold there. But what I want to look for is when is Vanderbilt going to decide to kick things up a notch? Because they have the high target damage of the Camille, because they have the Elise and the lockdown that she provides, there are plenty of opportunities for them to be able to have something once that level 6 spike does end up hitting. Flash is back available on the Glory as well, so he's going to be able to play those flashy fat man.
Flashy fat man plays. Is that where we're going today?
The flashy fat man.
It's Game 1, Bill.
It's Game 2.
It's Series 1, Bill. Of 3 today. Flashy fat man. All right, that's where we're at today. So Glory looking to make those plays. Sivers and Vandy fair and okay in this bottom side of the map, but we got to see Czech Normus pop off in that last game on Varus and was the catalyst for Texas A&M to get themselves back into the game, expecting to see the same. Ominous Mirror has something to say about it, so does both junglers, as now the top side of the map becomes the priority.
And this is the best part about Vanderbilt right now. If you take a look at their Game 1 vision versus their Game 2, they prioritized a lot more of the bot side of the map. But now Omnimus Mirror could hit the cocoon.
Omnimus Mirror misses the cocoon. Drovey going in, does get the Hex Tech ultimatum down, but Drovey has nowhere to go, and the tower kills him.
No.
And Glory's there as well, and that YG continues to live and proves why he's the best top laner in this tournament and one of the best in the college.
That's all she wrote. Camille wanted to try to make something happen, drove it on the spear. The thought was there. You definitely get an A for concept, but you get an F for execution because YG now having those 2 extra kills, top lane is over.
Top lane not looking good for Drovey, who got his counter pick.
Yeah.
He got his comfort pick, again, outside of the meta, not playing something tanky. Everyone wants to be YG. If YG's getting to play damage dealers, let me play damage dealer. I don't want to sit here and watch the game pass me by because I'm playing a Cho'Gath, because I'm playing a Maokai. But it doesn't seem like these top laners have been able to stand up to YG's pressure.
No, they just haven't. Drovey did a great job as the Fiora in Game 1 to keep down his... oh no. When bad goes to worse, you get the blue buff reset by Vanderbilt. But Fat YG was kept down on that Jax for quite a while. Obviously, Jax scaling is something that you obviously cannot overlook. However, Drovey is in a very difficult position as Fat YG is sitting on 2 components of the beginning for that Yumu's Ghostblade, and Drovey just sitting on 2 long swords. Things are going to really start being difficult for him, and he's not going to be able to fight this Fed Jace.
Oh, great binding there by Bot with the B here. And somewhere where 1st of July doesn't want to be is in the mid lane. Black Panda getting aggressive and flashing over the wall. So again, good mechanics shown by 1st of July to get away, but just a simple roam by the support into the mid lane has kind of tilted this into the side of Texas A&M.
And here's where Texas A&M recognizes the advantage that they have. We're sitting at about 9 minutes in the game, and instead of focusing a top or bottom, they realize that, hey, you know what? We just made something great happen in the mid lane. Let's push in and let's make something happen again. Is now.
Oh, Sivers Caldi going in, does charm so many other people, and Black Panda will be able to walk away. The ultimate from Twitch didn't do enough damage. Now the rest of Vanderbilt are forced to back up. Oh, the shock blast goes through Drovey and blows up Sivers Caldi. So the engage gets turned around upon, and Texas A&M taking control of this game at 9 minutes and 30 seconds.
Fat YG doing a little favor there for Zaya as her lover is on the opposite side of the team today. Beautiful little snipe, and that's going to be a 3rd kill for him. As now Texas A&M with the middle lane outer turret down, they're going to look for this dragon next. It is going to be that Ocean Drake, which is going to be very beneficial for them to be able to start going forward and backwards and changing themselves up around the rest of the map as we hit over this 10-minute mark, and now it's a 2,000 gold lead in favor of Texas A&M.
So in the top lane, you got your top lane losing now for Vandy. In the mid lane, he got kind of cheesed there. Oh, Drovey's very low. YG under the tower. And again, knowing the champion's limits here, and YG is able to walk away from this one. Drovey wished that he could finish off that kill, but 1st of July trying to get in here, using the Conquering Sands. Does the Emperor's Divide come out? No, it doesn't. 1st of July wants to continue chasing, but the tower will keep him safe, and 1st of July roams all the way to the top lane and finds nothing for it.
Decides to have a little bit of extra education and looks back at the Omnimus Mirror Drovey fail dive in the top side, so he decides to just back off because he needs to soak up some waves in the mid lane as he is down almost over now 20 CS to Mr. Black Panda, uncharacteristic of his kills and domination that he had in the lane phase last game. As he's going to have to sit and wait, figure out where the direction is that Vanderbilt wants to go with this. They are all post level 6. You're rounding up on first items for the solo laners. However, because of Vandy Landy and Silver Scaldy's difficulty in the lane phase, Chuck Norris and B here certainly taking that lane over. He decided to go back and get himself a call, so he is going to have a little bit of a delay on that first item for the Twitch.
So 1st of July trying to get vision to prevent Bot with the B here from doing exactly that, roaming mid, getting a stun. And just Bot with the B here is so free to do that because Chuck Norris has had a solid lead on the bottom side, and they're willing to give up now the lead so that they can continue to pressure 1st of July. You know that that is the focal point of Vanderbilt, and they want to continue to try and hold him down. They don't know the limit. They don't know his limits on that champion, but they do know if they slow him down, good things will happen.
And so now Texas A&M taking a page out of Vanderbilt's book with the 3-man dive on the top side of the map.
Drovey has nowhere to go, and it's just a stomp on the top tower, and there's nothing that they can do. All 4 members are there, so Vanderbilt need to be trying to make something happen right now with knowledge that there are 4 people on the top.
But this is the difficulty that Vanderbilt is facing in this game is look what you have from Chuck Norris. The solo kill there onto Silver Scout. He decided they thought about going in. You said they needed to make a play, but they weren't ready to rock and roll as Texas A&M takes over control.
Yeah, again, we challenged Chuck Norris to make some plays to step up, and if you're making a kill 1v2, that's a huge way to do that.
And so as a result, with Vanderbilt losing out on that bottom side of the map, not only...
Whoa, another kill for Chuck on the bottom side of the map. All the while on the top side, the 4 members turned into 2 because 2 more members came into the mid lane for Texas A&M and get 2 kills for themselves. And now Vanderbilt, the things are starting to fall apart from the seams.
Things are falling apart indeed as every piece of the map is floating in favor of Texas A&M. They were able to get both inner and outer turrets in the top side for Texas A&M because of the rough rotations of Vanderbilt, and much unlike last game where Vanderbilt felt like they were in control in various aspects, especially at the same timestamp for yesterday or for the last game to now. Texas A&M sporting over a 5,000 goal lead at 13 minutes, coming back to form that we saw them in their domination during the group stage.
So Texas A&M continuing to tighten the screws, and we'll move on over to the Rift Herald, take that to accelerate the game even faster. And they've just had such massive, major objective control throughout the game, always getting the Rift Herald. As Drovey looking to go in, but he does not have a lot of vision, and he will not be able to dodge all of the skill shots coming in. The Shock Blast lands, the Binding lands, down goes Drovey, but the engage coming out of Sivers now trying to help out to get 1st of July into a position to deal damage. He's not. There's no vision, and they're forced to back up and run away.
This is Texas A&M finally coming back to form. I believe maybe last game, I don't know if it was a lack of respect or if Vanderbilt was just off the mark that well, but Texas A&M, the Aggies this game are steamrolling in every single lane. We knew coming into this that every single laner, every single player for Texas A&M has the ability to carry from any perspective, and in this instance, it's every single member doing their mark. Glory moving around the map with such proficiency that we're used to seeing from him. All the solo laners sitting at 0 deaths and making sure that they have kills, as well as Chuck Norman's getting the 1v2 and then taking down Vandy Landy solo in the bot lane.
So again, Chuck Norman's going huge. Last game and this game has been one of the carries that Texas A&M has needed, but again, the macro play was just superb here, with 4 members on the top side of the map taking the top tower, then taking the inner top tower, rotating 2 over to the mid lane and getting 1st of July and Ominous Mirror. Vandy doesn't seem to be on the same level of skill here on macro.
And look at this, Texas A&M, they even are willing to share. They steal the blue buff on the top side, and Mr. Black Panda says, you know what, buddy? Fat YG, I'll give you this one. Decides to give that over. Now the team fight.
The team fight goes in. Savers Scaldy does battle dance out, tries to pop back in with the grand entrance. Mr. Black Panda picks up the kill on the opposite mid laner. Twitch trying to find damage, but Vandy Landy has no one else in front of him except the big fat man that we're talking about earlier. Glory getting the auto attack off, and the rest of Texas A&M cleaning this one up. It's an ace heading on over to Texas A&M, except for Ominous Mirror, who's able to escape.
Just like that, Texas A&M. Vanderbilt didn't have a chance in that entire fight. It was Texas A&M capitalizing immediately. And as a result now, with 4 of the 5 members left alive, as well as the Rift Herald bug itself, here ready to rock and roll. They're going to be able to take themselves a very early inhibitor turret, and I wouldn't be surprised if they go off to finish that inhibitor.
And this is a great usage of the Rift Herald. We've seen a lot of times teams just use it as it's expiring, but by holding on to it, by finding the correct fight that they want, which we were praising Vanderbilt for doing, Texas A&M is able to get the fight, get 1, 2 towers and the inhibitor, and just push this game out of reach for Vanderbilt.
And it's not only what they're deciding to take in their objectives and why they're deciding to take them, but wait, actually, 1st of July.
Oh, 1st of July.
Hello?
Mr. Black Bandit, time to go. The rest of your team's gone.
Fly away, little Syndra.
And that's exactly what they do. They pop over using the blast cone. Glory willing to body slam over the wall, and they'll take this Infernal Drake to, again, continue to push the pace here.
And this is so great for Texas A&M because something that they, So something that not only are they able to do, it's just the fact that of them taking the objectives that is making them so strong, but it's the simple fact that, actually, Ominous Mirror.
Ominous Mirror walking right into the top lane YG, but YG now getting caught out. And there it is. There's a first kill in quite some time for Vanderbilt. YG getting a little aggressive.
Little overzealous from YG. We get you're strong, man. We know you do a lot of damage, both the Dustblade of Drakthar as well as the